Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Canadian Pageant Network. My name is Maya Santa Ana Pilar, and I will be your host for today's topic. So, today's topic is called What is a Scam? And how does this relate to pageants? So, it's very important because there's a lot of things going on in the world, especially in the world of pageantry, that people need to be aware about how to know what is a scam and do the proper trust to see what pageants are for real and what makes a pageant a scam. Okay, so please stay tuned because this is very important. So, what is a scam? A scam is when a business tries to get money from people without the people get nothing in return. So, they promise people that if you join our organization, that you will get this, or when an event when they try to promote an event, but after getting tickets, after paying the cost for something that you want to purchase, but you did not actually get the product or service, that is a scam. Now, how does this relate to pageantry? Well, there are pageant systems that are actually a scam, because when you're offered something and it does not happen, then that's what makes it a scam. So, how do you detect if a pageant is a scam? Number one, if a pageant does not have an address. I'm not saying all pageants actually that don't have an address is a scam, but usually how pageants work, especially in Canada, is that either a pageant organization has an on-site office. Number two, if they are operating from their homes. And number three, if they have a virtual office. So I'm going to tell you that some pageants, it's easy to get a virtual office because of the fact that most of the work are actually done just by a computer and by sending documents and by sending information. And all you need is a phone and a computer. And then when a virtual office only happens is that during after hours, when the organizer could not answer calls, then they hire an answer service. And then when they have to do like interviews, and they don't want to do phone interviews, but most of the pageants actually do phone interviews. But some pageant systems, if they don't want to have phone interviews, especially for contestants that are in the areas where they are based, the virtual office actually has a boardroom that they use so that potential applicants can come there on a scheduled time and use the boardroom to do interviews. Okay? So, with that being said, that's how some pageants operate. Then there's some pageants that operate at home because of the fact that most of the legwork that is done through the computer. And some of the pageant directors really don't do full-time work, and or they do pageants as a part-time, and they have a full-time job. So when they get home, that's when they usually do their pageant work. And these happens with small-based pageants, okay? And then there's pageants that have an actual home-based, sorry, I have to reword that. There are pageants that actually have an office, because of the fact that they're actually a corporation and they have staff that works for administration, which is the executive. Then they have the administrative coordinator that does all the processing of applications and interviews. Then they also have production, which is in charge of doing the actual show of the pageant. And that's what Miss Canada Globe Productions is. It's Miss Canada Globe Productions is one of the pageant organizations in Canada that is a corporate pageant organization, and it has an office where they have employees working full-time, and then they also have out of office staff that basically deals with production work, and they are usually videographers, stage and choreography, then technical aspect like DJs, and then you have the stage set designers, videographers, and stuff like that, and choreographers, which is very important in any pageant production. So that's what are the typical pageant organizations in Canada. So most of pageant scams is usually in the United, not in the, some in the United States and some internationally. So United States, usually the pageants, why is it a pageant scam? Because of the fact that that system usually are more of like toddlers and tiaras kind of event, where they just crown a winner, but they don't really have a main production show, which there's a competition, because there's different kinds of criteria of competitions, like photo competition. They have swimsuit, they have in one level, they have even a high fashion in one level. So it's not like mini competitions that lead to one competition. They have what they call Grand Supreme and everything like that. So those ones, technically, it's not a scam, but it's not a competition, how they make it look like a competition. Because that itself, there is no, not a lot of like total judging aspect of what a competition is about, right? So, and then international pageants usually is when a pageant organization or a pageant organizer contacts a potential contestant through internet, social media. They have no national directors, or they can claim they have national directors, but they have like different so-called personalities, and they contact these girls on social media, and they offer them that, okay, this is the price, or this is the amount that you have to pay, and they don't actually have any itinerary or anything like that. So usually when girls go to international pageants that are like that, when they don't have national directors, then when they go to international pageants and it doesn't happen, they're screwed, because there's not a national director to guide these girls or girls that will go outside of the country. And sometimes it really happens where to a point where there's not even an embassy of a country that the girl is representing. So it becomes really dangerous and it's sad. So that's when you can say it's a scam. Okay? And then there's pageants that actually offer a lot of things, and it's so good to be true. And they say, we will give you free ticket, airfare going internationally. We will provide you this. We will provide you hotel accommodations. And then when you get there, you realize that it's actually all fixed and everything is so political. And then they make girls do a lot of things that is not appropriate, such as sleeping with sponsors or other directors or even the organizer. And that's very unethical. That is not only a scam, but it's illegal. It's human trafficking. So that's when you can determine if it's a scam, if a pageant is a scam. Now, in Canada, because it's a small pageant community, a lot of pageant directors tend to play dirty and badmouth other pageants so that they can gain in getting contestants. So if that's the case, always remember there's two sides to a story. Number one, if you see a bashing statement about a pageant from another pageant director or pageant organization, there's a saying, when you point a finger to someone, 10 fingers will point back at you. If that pageant that they're bashing doesn't say anything or doesn't want to comment anything, it's because of, number one, they want you to know and experience their pageant itself or the pageant itself, so that you can determine and know if what they're saying is true or not. And usually when it's a very famous saying, if you try to badmouth someone, what else can that person do in return, or how they are able to talk to about with other people? Do they badmouth other people? It's a plain judging of character. And number one, you could also see the date when that bad message or bashing statement is posted. You can compare the date and see if that pageant is a scam, like what they say about us. Look at us now. We're still running, and it's our 20th year going to 21st year. 21 years. And that says about an organization. So there's a saying that you always need to see and study all these statements to know the facts. Don't believe anything that you just see on the internet. Always look, study it, and get the facts, because you will know if a pageant is a scam. Now, also, if a pageant charges an entry fee, that does not make them a scam. The reason why they're charging an entry fee is because of the fact that it costs a lot of money to do pageants. There are expenses that needs to be paid, and that entrance fee that is paid to the pageant is used to cover the expenses such as staff, theater rental, production costs, so videographer, choreographer, also hotel accommodations, so many things. And that is just right because of the fact that nothing is for free. And so it is just right that the pageant charges an entry fee. So please don't ever think that if a pageant ever charges you an entry fee, that it's a scam, because nothing is for free. Especially in Canada, there's no pageants for free. However, what makes it a scam is when a pageant deceives a potential contestant by saying, okay, our entry fee is the lowest, you're only paying $500, and that's the cheapest way. But they're not really saying anything that with that $500, it's just a registration fee. It does not include your hotel and your meals as a contestant for their pageant, because there's no pageant week that will cost $500 or less. And just remind you, that is just a registration fee, because usually a 10-day pageant or even a 7-day pageant would cost at least minimum $2,500 and up, because there's food, hotel accommodation, sightseeing tours, meals for 3 times a day, and then crowns and sashes. So, and other works. That is the cost, why it's expensive, and why pageant charge at least a minimum of $2,500 to $3,000. Okay? So please remember that, because again, anything that is beyond or below $2,500, they're not mentioning everything. And usually you will know this if a contestant gets accepted. There's a delegates kit that will show you what does the fee cover and what doesn't, and what it doesn't cover. And if it doesn't say anything about hotel, meals, transportation, stuff like that, then they're not giving you the whole expenses or what is being covered for that entrance fee. So I hope that basically clears up about entry fees. Remember what I told you about there's always 2 sides to a story? So most of the bash statements about a pageant is coming from, number 1, competition with another pageant, and they would say everything to the extreme, to the point that they're bashing the pageant organization and its staff for the sake of gaining more contestants. Or number 2, from a contestant in a pageant that did not win the pageant, and because out of anger and jealousy, they will not they will act on the anger and on the anger that they have inside for not winning the crown and sash. And number 3 is when a title holder from that pageant gets dethroned. And again, they act towards anger for being dethroned. And if they say, I did not get my cash prize from their pageant, from this pageant, I did not get what was promised to me, the main reason is because of the fact that they were dethroned. And prizes from the pageant usually are given at the end of their contract, when they have fulfilled their responsibility as a title holder. Because as a title holder, you are holding a job position. It's not just a beauty queen. It's not just a girl with a crown and sash. It is a job position, and you are representing the brand of the pageant. So hopefully that gives a clear message. So please remember that I will give you a video clips of just simple advice on how you can determine what is a scam in pageants. And thank you so much for joining us. And please like, share, and subscribe this video, and hit the bell button so that you can get updates on our pageant topics and get your pageant fix. Thank you.